Welcome. I guess I don't need to shout so loud. My name is Tom Perriam, he, him. I am a 6-foot-tall white man wearing a blue shirt and a floral tie. Welcome again. We are First Unitarian. If you didn't know that, well, welcome. Our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. Together we can gain clarity about our beliefs and depth in our conviction. Thank you to our team of volunteers, the AV group, the musicians, everyone else, staff and volunteers, I guess I mix and match there, who makes this Sunday possible, and welcome to our guests on YouTube. And I encourage you, if you're watching online, to introduce yourself in the comments so that we can get to know you better. At First Unitarian, we share our pronouns and other visual self-descriptions to welcome all into the full life of the Church. In the same spirit of love and equity, we have large print orders of service and hymnals available at the back of the sanctuary. There are also a few over-the-loop hearing assistance devices, and our sanctuary is equipped with a telecoil hearing loop system. To utilize the telecoil, contact your hearing aid provider for more details. Our minister, Reverend Kent Doss, although you will see him, he is not leading the service today. Today we'll hear from Emily Bound. Okay, information about ongoing events is in the order of service, our weekly newsletter, and the website. We strive to share information, but staying informed about community life is a shared responsibility. If you're not yet on our email list, please use the QR code to sign up. If you are online, you can sign up under the newcomers section of the website. Now let's pause for a moment and get to know each other. Oh, I just got a note. Okay, breaking news. I skipped the prelude. And now the prelude prepares us for worship. Thank you, that was beautiful. And now I do feel more prepared. Let's take a short moment to greet one another. Please turn to the people seated near you and offer a quick greeting to one you see. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for helping create the warm welcome of community. After the service, please retain this enthusiasm and come to the Daniel Hall for coffee and conversation. This is a good time to mention that there is a memorial service this afternoon, and the sanctuary needs to be on a kind of quick turnaround. So, at the end of the service, gratefully leave. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And now, briefly, I would like to welcome first Anna Langthorne and then Sandra Flansburgh for a pledge moment and a Canvas update. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anna Langthorne, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a white woman in my early 30s with mostly brown hair. Before I could answer the question why someone should give to this church, I felt I had to answer the more fundamental question of why we come to church and why we come to this church specifically. Many of us do not believe in any specific deity, and those of us who do aren't so rigid in our belief that it precludes us from spending time in the company of those who don't. So what brings us to this building for an hour or 3 every Sunday? The first part of my answer is fairly obvious and probably everyone's first answer: community. In this space, we foster both intimate and casual relationships that meet our spiritual and evolutionary needs. This church offers a small sliver of what we have lost to car culture and capitalism. Here, you will be greeted with a warm smile. You will be assured by long-term members that it is fine for your child to sprawl out in the pew, invade their space, and play peekaboo. And here, your identity and needs will be honored and respected, and your talents and contributions will be cherished. My second answer may be more niche, especially in our faith tradition, but I believe part of why we come to church each week is our own sense of identity. The social sciences have taught us that we humans are deeply social creatures and that we cling tightly to group identities. We see this across our society as people claim allegiances to sports teams, political parties, faith groups, and cultural identities. Too often, we see this evolutionary impulse taken to extremes that lead to ignorance, hate, and violence. But this church offers us the rare opportunity to live into that impulse in a way that fosters both love of self and community. We come to church here each week because we are people who know sexuality education starts at birth and spans our whole lives. We come because we are people who stock groceries in free pantries and emergency contraception in bathrooms. And we come because we are people who celebrate the changing of the seasons by honoring our history of anti-fascism and recognizing faith diversity as wild and beautiful as the pollinator gardens we grow. This church offers us the knowledge that we are part of something beautiful and good, and reaffirms the inherent truth that we are beautiful and good. This community and identity are free, but keeping the doors of this church open costs around $550,000 per year. No one is billed a specific amount, but we are all asked to contribute what we can. So this year, I renewed my pledge and increased it, because I want to nurture this community and this identity. And I hope you will consider doing the same.
Thank you for that powerful testimonial, Anna. My name is Sandra Flansburgh, and I use the pronouns she, her, and hers, and I am your current president this year. Just a quick update on how we're doing with our pledge drive. We are halfway through, and we are just over 0.5% of participation, which is awesome. Over half of you have submitted. We have 7 new pledges this year, which is great. I'm also delighted that over 2/3 of you have increased your pledge from last year. And half have increased by 10% or more. So please give yourself a hand. If you have not been able yet to be a part of this financial enthusiasm for the direction our church is headed, you can do that today. There is a stewardship table in Daniel Hall that you can just run out and give to just as soon as we close out our service today. And on the back of your order of service, there is a QR code where you can just sit right now. You have permission to get your phone out and do that link and make your pledge. We have a friendly competition going among the church groups and organizations this year, and I wanted to just call out the groups that have reached 100% pledging with their groups. Some that you'd guess and some maybe that you wouldn't. So the Board of Trustees is at 100%. The Finance Working Group is at 100%. The Stewardship Committee is at 100%. But the Human Resources Working Group is at 100%. The membership team is at 100%. And I think as of this morning, the Endowment Committee is at 100%. So thank you, everyone. We're going strong. We need more participation. Thank you.
Now, chalice lighters, please come forward. With this chalice, may we kindle the flame of our attention, not too fiery or wild, spreading without cause or care, not too dim or fading, unfocused and ineffective, but like a cheerful cook fire in a cozy hearth, like a comforting candle, flickering yet steady, may our attention be befriended, directed, and sustained for the betterment of all humankind.
A couple of days ago, on Friday the 27th, Carl Sempter died. Carl was the husband of First Unitarian member Lana Henson for 23 years and was known by many, many of you. We light this memorial candle in honor of his death and in honor of his life. We light this candle for warmth, courage, and hope in the days to come.
Please join me in reciting the covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. Here within these walls, here in this community of love and justice, we pause in our busy lives to consider what is worthy of our deepest yearnings. In the time we are given here, may we pay attention to wonder of each moment. May we grieve what is lost. May we be grateful for our life on this beautiful earth. And may we prepare ourselves for the work love calls us to do. Just as we are, may we be the beloved community. Please rise in spirit or in body for the opening hymn 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road.
our opening prayer.
As I listened to the news yesterday morning, I realized that I would be here Sunday morning offering our prayer. Our world is messier every day, including now, especially in the Middle East. So I wanted to bring this prayer for peacekeepers and peacemakers in our world. I invite you to join me for a short time of prayer or meditation or whatever practice suits you best. Spirit of life, God of many names, mystery beyond naming. The history is complex. The politics are intense. The fear and anger are overwhelming. And the future is unclear. But glimpses of a hopeful vision will not be bombed into oblivion by anyone. In our prayer today, we call to mind the peacemakers, neighbors of different faiths or no faith at all, people with different histories, different politics, with different emotions, who find room for each other in their hearts, in their dreams, and in their lives. Those who hold firmly to a vision of peace and justice anywhere in the world, but especially today in the Middle East. Spirit of life and love, be present with all who are suffering from the violent political regimes of our world, including our own. Lift up the hearts of those who are in fear and inspire courage among the peacemakers. And help us remember you are also present with political leaders. May they have ears to hear and eyes to see life-affirming possibilities on this good earth. Guide the hands of all those who are caring for the injured, the hungry, and the grieving, and open our own hearts to compassion. May it be so. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Tim Atkins. I serve as your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. My pronouns are he, him. I'm both big and tall, wearing a blue and white striped shirt and rainbow glasses. And our story today is Thank You, Amu by Oge Mora. And we'll have some pretty images on the screen I invite you to watch. On the corner of First Street, a long street on the very top floor, Amu was cooking a thick red stew in a big fat pot for a nice evening meal. She seasoned and stirred it and took a small taste. "What a delicious stew," Amu said. "Tonight's dinner will surely be the best I ever had." With that, Amu put down her spoon and went to read a book before supper. As the thick red stew simmered on the stove, its scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall and toward the street, and around the block until, knock, 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 someone was at the door. When Amu opened it, she saw a little boy. "Little boy," Amu explained, "what brings you to my home?" "I was playing with my race car down the hall when I smelled the most delicious smell," the little boy replied. "What is it?" "Thick red stew." Stew," he sighed. "That sure sounds yummy." Amu thought for a moment. She was saving her stew for dinner, but she had made quite a bit. It would not hurt to share. "Would you like some?" And the little boy nodded. And so Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. "Thank you, Amu," the little boy said, and went on his way. And with that, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. Well, as she continued to read, her thick red stew scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall and toward the street, and around the block until, knock, 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 someone was at the door. When Amu opened the door this time, she saw a police officer. "Miss Police Officer," Amu explained, "what brings you to my home?" "I was on duty down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell," Miss Police Officer replied. "What is that?" "Thick red stew." "Ah, stew," she said, and her mouth watered. "That sounds mighty tasty." Amu thought for a moment. There was still enough to share. "Would you like some?" The police officer nodded. Once again, Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for a nice evening meal. "Thank you, Amu," the officer said, and went on her way. And so for the second time, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. Sure enough, as she read, her thick red stew scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block, until again, knock, 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 someone was at Amu's door. This time when she opened it, she saw a hot dog vendor. "Mr. Hot Dog Vendor," Amu explained, "what brings you to my home?" "I was selling my hot dogs down the block when I smelled the most delicious smell," Mr. Hot Dog Vendor replied. "What is it?" "Thick red stew." "Oh, stew." The vendor licked his lips. "That sounds quite delectable." So Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. "Thank you, Amu," the hot dog vendor said, and went on his way. Well, as you can imagine, throughout the day, people from all across the neighborhood knocked on Amu's door. She fed a shop owner, a cab driver, a doctor, an actor, a lawyer, a dancer, a baker, an artist, a singer, an athlete, a bus driver, a construction worker, and even the mayor stopped by. And each time they knocked, Amu shared. Soon, the sky darkened, the streetlights brightened, and it was finally time for dinner. But when Amu opened her big fat pot of her thick red stew for her nice evening meal, it was empty. Amu sniffed. "There goes the best dinner I ever had." Sorry and blue, she sat at the table with her empty pot. Until, knock, knock, knock. Who could that be? Amu wondered. When she opened the door, she saw the little boy, the police officer, the hot dog vendor, the shop owner, the cab driver, the doctor, the actor, the lawyer, the dancer, the baker, the candlestick maker. Why, everyone she fed today was at her door. "I'm sorry, everyone," Amu sighed. "My thick red stew is all gone. I have nothing left to share." The little boy tugged at Amu's sleeve. "Don't worry, Amu. We're not here to ask. We are here to give." The police officer carried in a fresh salad. The mayor entered with a roast chicken. The baker brought a collection of sweet goodies. Even the little boy presented Amu with something special in a shiny red envelope. Everyone who had knocked on Amu's door that day squeezed inside her tiny apartment. And together, they ate, they danced, and they celebrated. While Amu's big fat pot of thick red stew was empty, her heart was full of happiness and love. That dinner was the best dinner she had ever had. The end. So now is the time in our service where we sing our children and youth off to their religious exploration clubs. Today we have two clubs. Our club's becoming drama clubs, so we're going to have some dramatic fun today. And our games club, we're going outside to play Foursquare. So we are singing a new dismissal song, Building a New Way, which is song number 1017 in the Teal hymnal, if you prefer to sing along with the hymnal. Please join us in singing Building a New Way.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building
Last fall, I attended a 5-day retreat. This experience was powerful, healing, and in some ways destabilizing. On the final day, as we departed, the leaders asked us to commit to 2 things. 1, don't make any life-changing decisions for 90 days, and more importantly, today's theme, to cultivate an intense disinterest in what is not important. When I got home, I looked around and I began cutting. I deleted most of my social media. I stepped away from the news and weekly Trumpian outrages, and it felt glorious. Would I recommend a permanent media fast? No. I didn't miss algorithmic rage bait, but I did miss my niche memes and NBA hot takes. It's hard to replicate. And fully disengaging from the news cycle really at some point feels self-indulgent, especially in this authoritarian moment. Still, putting forward this idea of cultivating disinterest has been useful. I was overwhelmed by the burning garbage pit of the world, and so scaling back to a minimum was essential. What is the minimum? Well, my family, sobriety, my job, my parents, who I help take care of, my church. Like Maslow's hierarchy, there's a Maslow? I don't know. Only when these foundations are tended can I hope to impact anything larger. Many weeks, these 5 areas take everything I have. In those seasons, constant exposure to current events doesn't make me more responsible. It just fills me with rage and doomerism, which serve no one. In fact, the moments when I'm caught up and overwhelmed by the news cycle, I'm actively worse as a participant in the community. Less helpful, less friendly, frightened. With this in mind, focusing on and tending to my critical needs isn't complacency, it is a form of stewardship. Now, offertory, oh God. I'm sorry guys, I have been a little bit out of whack today. The call to offering is right here on my page, I'm sorry. Generosity is a spiritual practice that we embrace every Sunday when we take an offering. All the cash and designated checks are distributed directly to an external nonprofit organization doing good work in the world. This month, our offering supports Freedom Oklahoma. Freedom Oklahoma advocates and organizes across Oklahoma and among the 39 sovereign tribal nations to build a future where all two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and gender-expansive people have the safety, resources, and community to thrive. 2S LGBTQ+ people have been under attack on this land since settlers first arrived. That history is the root of Freedom Oklahoma's work. They believe it's critical to build power and engage in education to achieve collective, community-based safety. They fight harmful policy attempts while also searching for opportunities to build and move forward in community, because we can live in abundance when we share. As we enjoy the offertory music, our ushers will pass the offering plate in the sanctuary. Online, you can make a gift through the One You Seek website or send a check to First Unitarian. Just write "change for change" in the memo line. Would the ushers please come forward and receive the offering?
Good morning. My name is Emily Bounds. I'm the lead organizer with Voice. My pronouns are she, her. I am around 5'9". I'm a 40-year-old white woman with long curled red hair. Our reading for today comes from the holy text of the New York Times and is titled How to Pay Attention, an excerpt by Lauren Jackson. I didn't really know who James Vanderbeek, the star of Dawson's Creek, was before he died from cancer at 48. I'd seen his Gosling-esque face on old reruns on TV, but I'd missed the initial craze. Still, I was struck while reading his obituary by something he'd said recently on the Today Show. After cancer, I feel like a connection to God, whatever that is kind of the whole point of this exercise on this planet. There's so much packed into that line. He expresses faith, God, he qualifies it, whatever that is. He takes as a given that there is a whole point at all. And the last part has looped through my head all week. What is this exercise on this planet? What are we all doing here? Simone Weil, a 20th century philosopher and mystic who died at 34 after a hunger strike protesting World War II, said, "Attention, taken to its highest degree, is the same thing as prayer. The goal," said Weil, and the British writer Iris Murdoch after her, "was to unself. The whole point, in their supposition, was to turn one's attention toward the bigger questions. The question, then, is how? What can help us turn our attention to those things that will alter us and elevate our mundane quotidian lives when we're hardwired for selfishness?" The writer, Marina Keegan, called it our immutable solipsism. We can only see the world through our own eyes, process it through our own brain, our pain, a hangnail, a stubbed toe, the grief of all our losses, centers us inside our own bodies. We are distracted constantly by the hard work of living. Mary Oliver, the poet, had a suggestion. She said that noticing things, like a swallow or the golden air of summer, was a good first step. But she said that attention was a serious project, one that demanded emotional commitment. Attention without feeling, she wrote, is only a report. And openness and empathy was necessary if attention was to matter. Religion is designed to help us with this. It creates spaces, rituals, hymns, and liturgies to help us meditate, even for a moment, on the transcendent, the sublime, the other. I also hear each week from readers who are searching for secular spaces that offer the same. I'll keep looking for that too.
Let us take a short time out of the rush of our lives. Take a deep breath. Relax into the seat beneath you. Feel the support of this beloved community. You are safe here. Let us join together in a short time of silent meditation or prayer. Namaste.
I love camping. I think in large part because I love what I get the opportunity to pay attention to. I love the feeling of spending my energy paying attention to my most basic of needs: building a fire, cooking over an open flame, and reading in the afternoon. I love that I get to pay attention to the world around me, to feel the cool breeze in my hair and the warm sun on my skin. The last time I went camping, I had the kind of weekend that I'll always remember deep in my soul. It was mid-October last year at Romano State Park. It was the same weekend as the Watauga Cheese Festival and some kind of First Unitarian Church retreat. You guys were there too. The weather was peak Oklahoma fall, where I hiked around in shorts and a tank top, but also thought I might freeze to death on our first night. This camping trip had a special mission. It was my partner's dog Roosevelt's first ever camping trip, and my 14-year-old dog Ellen's last. Ellen was a 60-pound dog with a gray and black heeler coat pattern, floppy ears, a graying face, and a smile that made you know that she loved life. She spent much of her life on a hiking trail where she reached 13,000 feet in Colorado, scrambled rock in Paladaro Canyon, and splashed around in the Gulf of Mexico. Ellen was stubborn and loyal and always by my side. On our second night, we were taking pictures by the campground sign when our camp neighbors drove by. The woman leaned out the window and offered to take our picture for us. We got the dogs in position, and she snapped a picture that encapsulates the trip perfectly. Satisfaction and joy on the old girl's face, and a far-off stare from our sweet younger dog, who was just not yet certain if camping was for him. We thanked the couple for their kindness and told them it was Roosevelt's first camping trip and Ellen's last, as she was nearing the end of her life with terminal cancer. We all cried and loved on Ellen, then made our way back to our campsites. Within minutes of getting settled, 6 or 7 people from their group came over just to meet Ellen, give her a scratch on the ears. There was not a dry eye in sight for the love and joy of the moment. Simone Weil, a French philosopher, mystic, and political activist, said, "Attention, taken to its highest degree, is the same thing as prayer." Through that lens, I might dare to say that our entire weekend was a prayer. We had the gift of no cell service, which created space for us to only pay attention to us, our dogs, and our world in the present moment. It was a weekend filled with the healing and rejuvenating practice of mindfulness. Our time and attention are our 2 greatest assets that are finite in nature. We only have so much time in a day and time in our lives, and only so many things and people who we can pay attention to at once. Therefore, we must be attentive to our attention. I clearly love a New York Times opinion piece, especially by Jamel Bowie or Ezra Klein. Last January, Klein had a conversation with MSNBC's Chris Hayes about the attention economy. They collectively posited that Donald Trump had unlocked a strategy that is wildly valuable. He understands how to leverage the attention economy. He understands that it is not about the kind of attention that one gets, but rather the volume of attention. In this world, there is no such thing as bad attention. On Wednesday, Jamel Bowie called the State of the Union rage bait. Tom and I must have been on the same page here. Named the 2025 Oxford Word of the Year, rage bait is content specifically designed to provoke anger, frustration, or outrage to drive clicks, shares, and comments, exploiting algorithms that prioritize high engagement over positive sentiment. This tactic manipulates and polarizes, often spreading misinformation, taking a toll on mental health, and further dividing us. Rage bait is meant to hijack our attention, causing us to become reactionary rather than relational, and it distracts us from the building blocks of democracy, our relationships, and our institutions. In 1979, United Methodist scholar Philip Wogeman wrote The Church as a Mediating Institution, where he says, "I am fully persuaded that intimate association is necessary to authentic human existence, and that without such institutions fostering this association, political democracy would not be long sustainable." Progressive politics today often centers on attacks on democracy from the current administration. We spend countless hours consuming media that details the stressors inflicting pressure on the checks and balances of our democratic culture and traditions. We know that our democracy is not working well right now. And perhaps, instead of spending so much attention reacting to and understanding the demise of our democracy, we should tend to the actual mechanisms that facilitate our democracy, our institutions. Wogeman says that there are three linkages that are vital for mediating institutions: linking people to one another, linking people to power, and linking people to greater meaning. What's so interesting to me is that Wogeman's synopsis sounds a lot like your mission here at First Unitarian Church: to explore the eternal, to nurture community, and to pursue the common good. Now, we must pay deeper attention to the true mission of our institutions and consider these linkages to invest in a foundation on which to rebuild our democracy. Let's start with the institutional practice of linking people to one another. One method that can be used to facilitate these kinds of links are the tools of community organizing, known as relational meetings or house meetings, small group conversations. A common practice in our tradition of community organizing through the Industrial Areas Foundation is the habit of being observed by colleagues and supervisors in relational meetings, house meetings, and trainings. We do this so that we can continue to hone our craft as community organizers. My first year as a professional organizer in Lubbock, Texas, my supervisor, Arturo, came to town to run with me. We did a meeting with a woman who worked in immigration at Catholic Charities. She was in school studying to be a licensed professional counselor and spent half of our time together talking about her passion for mental health care. As we came to the end of our meeting, I made her an offer, as organizers do. And because of her work at Catholic Charities, I made her an offer around immigration. As Arturo and I were evaluating how I did in the meeting, he looked at me and said, "Were you even listening to her? She spent half of our time together talking about how much she cared about mental health, and then you go and make her an offer around immigration." Stunned, all I could do was laugh in response in a moment of deep learning. You see, I had listened to her stories, but I was paying more attention to my anxiety than her self-interest. Multiple thousands of relational meetings later, I've learned how to better pay attention and find relational meetings to be feeding to my soul. In a good relational meeting, both parties have paid such attention to each other that both walk away transformed by the encounter. Relational meetings and house meetings are intentionally attentional. They link people to one another and nurture community in a way that is bigger than oneself. As Vey said, attention taken to its highest degree is the same thing as prayer. When we pay attention to how we are linked and nurture community, we are working towards building the relational power that allows us to pursue the common good. Power gives us the ability to act. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power, at its best, is love implementing the demands of justice. And justice, at its best, is power correcting everything that stands against love. If we only pay attention to the common good, and we do not pay attention to the relational, institutional power that is required to take on and win issues, we will find ourselves on the losing side of issues in public life. 10 years ago, my father was recruited to run for state representative in my hometown of Yukon. He was running as a part of the Teacher Caucus, a group of bipartisan candidates with pro-public education agendas. With my mom as a career public school teacher in the community and a public education crisis, we had the right agenda for the common good. I just knew we had a chance to win. Then election night came, and we lost on straight party lines, as if we had not knocked a single door. I was devastated, and I swore I would never touch politics again. But clearly, something different happened. I learned through the experience of a loss that it was not about just having the right agenda to impact the common good, but also the power to implement it. I've spent the last decade of my career studying power, my relationship with it, how it operates in different communities, how to build it, and how to develop others to pay attention to it. The ability to act, or power, can be transformative to people and communities. Last week, as Voice, we did a large action with immigrants and the Catholic Archbishop at Little Flower Catholic Church. We had 3 people share stories of how they were being impacted by the current immigration climate, followed by a response and teaching from Archbishop Coakley, who also serves as the president of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. As we prepared the leaders over the last several weeks, I watched an undocumented man share his story of being detained 3 different times. He was in a van with other musicians on their way to a gig in Texas when they were pulled over, ID'd, and then he was detained. He wears an ankle monitor and lives in constant fear of the moment when ICE comes to get him. I heard him boldly tell his story during our first house meeting. Tears reflected the anguish and pain in his experience. The second time, I felt his apprehension as he considered what it might mean for him to tell his story in a safe public space. The third time he shared his story was in front of almost 200 people and his archbishop. That night, he made his private pain public, and his story was connected to power. He had the agency to take an active role in doing something about what is happening to him and other immigrants across this country. This whole story really is about attention. The attention he paid to the announcements to show up, the attention from his priest and organizer to identify his talent, the subsequent attention to him to prepare his story and make sure that he felt safe, the attention of the archbishop to listen to his parishioner and then feel motivated to continue to act. Our collective attention was all a connection to something much greater than ourselves. The beauty of the moment takes me back to Vey. Attention, taken to its highest degree, is the same thing as prayer. Attention is personal. Attention is relational. Attention is political. And attention is related to power. When the majority of our attention is focused on reacting to the rage bait that is everywhere in our society, we will continue to see the erosion of our democracy, and our families will continue to be on the losing side of public life. If instead we shift our attention to our institutions, our relationships, and our ability to build collective power, we've got a real chance at this. So, what is the greatest thing that you can do to respond in this chaotic socio-political moment? Invest your attention here. Pay attention to the people here. Learn how to do a really good relational meeting here. Develop the talent of others here. Learn about power here. Practice mindfulness here. Rebuilding our democracy and investing in our families starts by investing right here at First Unitarian Church in Oklahoma City. After all, First Unitarian Church is a place where you go, where you get to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. May it be so. Amen.
Hello, everyone. Our closing hymn today is We Shall Overcome, number 196 in your gray hymnal. 169, I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic occasionally. And I just wanted to say a couple of words about We Shall Overcome. We Shall Overcome became the definitive anthem of the American Civil Rights Movement in the 1950s and 60s. Early versions trace back to the work songs of enslaved people in the 19th century American South. It is known for its message of insistent perseverance and hope in the face of injustice. The song has been sung during the Velvet Revolution in Prague and Tiananmen Square protest in China and the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. Today we sing in solidarity with all people committed to self-determination and mutual thriving. Please stand as you are able.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall all be free someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall walk in peace someday.
As we extinguish the chalice, I'll read There's a Power at Work in the Universe by Tom Shade. My friends, there's a power at work in the universe. It works through human hands, but it was not made by human hands. It is a creative, sustaining, and transforming power, and we can trust that power with our lives and with our ministries. It will sustain us whenever we take a stand on the side of love, whenever we take a stand for peace or justice, whenever we take a risk. Trust in that power. We are together held by that power.